this is tough for me, but Chris Paul would be a better fit for the Lakers. I think for Chris, being able to play less minutes, play with another good ball handler, another playmaker, and LeBron James would be great for him. And then also, Chris has had an experience playing with a ball-dominant guy. I think playing with James Harden, he learned how to play with a ball-dominant guy. He's a better spotter, three-point shooter than Russ, so he could fit into the offense that way where he still is going to be able to make threes. It's just a better fit. And then if LeBron needs to take, both of those guys can help each other out minutes-wise, I think would be great. They don't have to play long minutes with those two guys because you got two guys on the floor with AD, assuming AD is doing the heavy loading, to be able to make plays. So I just think the better fit would be Chris Paul over Westbrook. I don't think Westbrook is ready to stop getting triple-doubles and being ball dominant the way he is. So Chris Paul.
Yeah, Twan, this isn't even close for me. It's Chris Paul, and that's with all due respect to Russell Westbrook, who I love, but his game just would not fit with LeBron's. LeBron only likes to kind of give up control of the ball to a guy that he feels is a smart decision maker, and Russ just isn't really that. I mean, Russ isn't going to make the wisest decisions with the basketball, so I could see that being a problem if he were playing there with LeBron. We know he doesn't really shoot the jumper that well. And Russ is better playing really up-tempo. Even if he's in the half court, he's just playing fast, whereas LeBron likes to play a slower, more deliberate game. So I don't see that as a match at all. Chris, I see as a match. Now, I'd like to see him go back to Phoenix. I think he will go back to Phoenix, but I'm warming to the idea of him playing with the Lakers. Obviously, that's a big three to match up with Brooklyn's big three, and Milwaukee will still be around. So I would love to see those two. They've been great friends for so long, play together. Of course, Chris's family is still in Los Angeles, so it would be a lot of fun if it happened. The thing is, it's pretty unrealistic, not impossible. But Chris will have to take a big-time pay cut because I don't see the Suns doing a sign and trade for what the Lakers' pieces are. So Chris would essentially have to give up a guaranteed $44 million to play for about $9.5 million for the Lakers. Yeah, he wants a ring. Does he want it that bad? I don't know. So I don't think it happens, but I would like to see it, and I'd certainly pick Chris over Russ.
All right, by the way, Broussard just can't quit the Nets. We are 34 hours removed from the Bucks winning the title. And Broussard's like, well, if the Lakers got Chris Paul, they'd have a big three to match up with the Nets, or maybe the Bucks if somehow the defending champs who actually won the title were to get back there. So here's the thing. I'm going to throw a bit of a grenade in this because obviously I would take Chris Paul. But I would take Chris Paul for the Lakers over Russ. I would take Malcolm Brogdon in a heartbeat for the Lakers over Russ if he were available. I would take Mike Conley. I would take Kyle Lowry. Ooh. I might even say
you're right.
Bring back Lonzo rather than Russ. And Antoine, you think I don't love Russ? I love Russ. He's my 6th favorite player ever. If you want the list, that'll be in the post-show meeting. I love him. I have massive respect for him. But I don't think he would help the Lakers at all. You would, like, unless Adam Silver, in a quest to continue, they added the play-in tournament. We've talked about a mid-season tournament. If he's going to remove the three-point line, then I'll listen to it. But in a league where shooting has never mattered more, adding a non-shooting point guard to go along with LeBron and AD just doesn't make any sense at all. Like, I love him as a competitor. I've enjoyed watching his career, but I don't think he would make the Lakers better. Like, there's a lot of guys I think Antoine would be better for the Lakers than Russ.
I agree with Chad. I would agree with that when you think about the Kyle Lowrys, the Mike Conleys. Those guys can accept a different role, and they're older in their career. And I just think Russ coming off a monster year where he set the triple-double record, I think he's still playing at a very, very high level, being a ball-dominant guy. So that's where he doesn't fit in at. And LeBron is still going to want to handle the basketball majority of the time. But I think with Chris Paul, what makes it so intriguing is that He respects Chris Paul. They're good friends. It will make LeBron James' game even easier because he will force LeBron to go to the block, which LeBron doesn't like to do a lot. But I think with Chris, he would do that more just so it'll work. LeBron would make those adjustments. His basketball IQ is better than anybody's in the league. So he will make those adjustments to make it fit for Chris Paul.
So, all right, well, two things about Chris Paul, Antoine. Specifically about Chris Paul staying in Phoenix. Don't you think it would just be fundamentally odd and for Chris Paul to make it to the finals with Monty Williams, to be able to like take Ayton's game to the next level, for him to develop a relationship with Devin Booker, and then just be like, I'm out. I'm going to go take a pay cut. Like, why are you leaving? It's like we were literally 2 games away from winning the finals. Don't you think that is fundamentally weird to just – I mean, I understand if he wants to go back in for personal reasons, but for the basketball side, it feels like Phoenix is the perfect fit for him. Don't you think it'd be weird for him to leave Monty Williams?
I think for both. I think for both it wouldn't be a good. I mean, it would be a bad decision for him to leave. I think obviously financially, you think about $44 million on the table. You don't leave that. This is still a business. You have to make sure at 16 years in the league, you want to make sure you make the right decision business-wise, even though you're chasing the title. I think for this team, I just think Chris at 16 years, I think he wore down a little bit in the playoffs. I don't think he's at 35 minutes a night anymore. So he's going to have to take a little bit of a pay cut so they're able either to keep Cameron Payne or to go after another guard so you can shorten his minutes a little bit. But I think he should come back and give it another run with his team. They're young, but also we always talk about the one thing about we always talk about guys got to go somewhere else and play. The thing is, you got to get those guys on that team on top of Chris Paul. Got to get better. The Bridges, the Cam Johnson,
yes.
Ayton. They got to get better with them too to make it work and make another run like that. But I would love to see Chris stay. I'm a loyalty guy. I like if he stay there, and they've done number right by him, and he's done right by that team.
Listen, I think he probably will stay also, Wilds, but if the money is so overwhelming, I think it'll trump it. And he's going to have the relationship with Monty Williams no matter what. Let me just ask you this quickly, Wilds. Do you think Chris Paul believes that next year the Phoenix Suns, with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton in that supporting cast, with him on it, would give him a better chance to be back in the finals than the Lakers with him on it, with LeBron James, Anthony Davis? Like, that's if his most. No. I won't judge him no matter what he does. But if when he went home, he was like, the only thing I care about is getting back to these finals and playing a big role, then to me the decision is very, very easy if money is not a factor. But I can't imagine money's not a factor.
Yeah, I totally hear you, but I think Chris Paul perhaps has more confidence in his game and the Suns than maybe the outside media does. My issue, Broussard, is this, and it's probably unfair, but I'm going to say it anyways. If you team up with LeBron and get a ring, that's LeBron's ring. I mean, you get a physical ring, but like Dwight Howard's a champion. I'm happy for Dwight. But that's LeBron's ring. It's not like it's almost a different ring. Maybe they should give you a different ring. You can get it. Giannis has got the big ring, and then if you win LeBron, you get just a smaller. It's a silver ring. It's still very beautiful. So it would be kind of weird, I think, if Chris Paul finally gets his ring and it's like, yes, I did it the way Karl Malone wanted to do it when he joined the Lakers. It just seems odd to me.
Wilds, I'm totally with you, and I was about to go there before I heard you say it. Look, it wouldn't be legacy changing if Chris won this ring with LeBron. Okay? It'd be great because obviously he wants to win, and he would finally be a champion. And even though Nick and I have him in our top 5s regardless, a lot of people don't. This would not, in many people's eyes, those who don't already have him ahead of John Stockton and Jason Kidd and maybe even Steve Nash and Walt Frazier and a few others, this winning a ring with LeBron wouldn't make them say, oh, Chris got a ring, Stockton didn't. This would be more akin to the Jason Kidd ring that he won in Dallas, the Gary Payton ring that he won in Miami. Those don't change their legacies because they were role players at that point. So I'm with you completely on that, Wilds. Nick, I do think Chris is smart enough to know, I'd have a better chance of winning it with the Lakers. but he plays a bigger role with the Suns. And finally, I got to say this. We know Chris is the president. Yeah. We know he's the president of Players Association, and his decisions financially affect the whole league. And LeBron feels that way too. So if Chris were to leave $44 million on the table to go play for 9, he understands that other teams would start using that in negotiations with other players. Hey, Chris Paul did this to win, and I don't know that he wants to do that.
No, that's fair. The only pushback I'll give you is Jason Kidd and Gary Payton, and Kidd was a very important player on that team. Antoine won the ring with Gary Payton. Antoine was a starter and a huge part of that team. No disrespect to Gary. Gary was not really a part of the playoff rotation, like when you guys won the ring. But
he was big in that game 3, though, right, Twan?
He had a game, sure.
Down. Yeah, but game 3, that was the key game.
But my point is, totally fair, and I'm not trying to disrespect it. My point is, none of those guys were coming off a year where, the smartest, best-looking NBA commentators said they were league MVP. Like Chris Paul just did. So, let's be honest about that. So, he's in a different spot, Jenna.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.